Hey, now, if you watched my second video, you heard me talk about the design I was going to use, and I had this big pile of wood at my table and kind of showed you the wood I was going to use for the project. And I didn't have this walnut top in here. My plans at that time was to use the redwood burl directly on top of the ambrosia maple. I've since decided that the redwood is too soft. I don't want it to go all the way to the edge of the guitar because you're just asking for it to get nicked up or, big chunks and chips out of it. And so I decided to put a top on the guitar and then inlay the redwood into that. So this is kind of a bottom for the top, I guess, so to speak. And this piece of walnut I've had for a little while. It's actually the cutoff, the discard end from a piece of 8/4 I picked up at a local supplier that I made a solid body blank out of. That's going to be a left-handed guitar, but this one has some inclusions in it. And so I resawed it a couple months ago, tried to book match it as best as possible, kind of get it planed down and hopefully would make some use out of it, and just never did. And so this is going to be great. It'll be perfect for this because you'll just see, just a little strip going around and then on the side. And so anything like this that shows, we can just fill in its character and it's going to look great. So yeah. Still sticking with the domestic hardwoods. Good old black walnut. What a great wood to work with.
My appetite, don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. My appetite, don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak just my mind.
So I finished routing out this walnut top that I'm going to inlay this redwood into, and that was quite a pain in the behind. I have never inlaid a top like this, and wow, to get this routed out and flat and everything without just totally screwing it up was a giant pain. But I managed to pull it off, so now I've got to sand along these edges and then come back and cut this redwood. But I wanted to show you kind of how I marked it out. I have my template that I made, and so I was able to lay this down on the walnut, trace it out, and then I made a negative right here that I could come back and match up. Actually, my plywood is warped a little bit right there, but I could come back and match up right here to the center line, and then right here to the outer part of the horns. Tape that down as you've seen in the video, and and was able to put a little centerpiece in and route out, remove the centerpiece, and then off camera I finished this up on the router table. That was nothing you'd want to watch. That was a mess. But anyway, so we're done. Got it sanded, and so now I'll bring my template here. I'll trace this out, and then I'll come back and lay in my negative where I can match up here and here. Trace this out, cut on the outside of the lines, and by hand, sanding lightly, and probably take the better part of the afternoon, we'll get this nice piece of redwood fitted in this walnut top, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, like I said, I've never done it. It's going to be interesting. One thing I thought about that I haven't made my mind up yet is just a thin strip of binding in between the redwood and this walnut. I think would look interesting, especially if I use a light colored wood. Like I have this piece of dogwood that I had left over from a project where I made a primitive bow. Actually, I cut this tree down and dried this thing. It's been air drying for a couple of years, and so it's a real white wood, but dogwood is really, really strong. And so I could cut some thin strips out of this, make a little thin strip jig for my table saw. Or I also have some curly maple. May try that. I don't know, but anyway, maybe a 30 or 40 thousandths thick little piece of a wooden binding around there, out of a light colored wood. Maybe that'll look okay too. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and okay. So I'm looking at this piece of redwood, and it's really nice here on this end, and it's really nice here on this end. I was going to start down here. This is definitely the upside that I'm going to use right here, so that it's the top. This will be the exposed, the show side. I was going to start about right here and orient the guitar body this way, but I think I changed my mind. I really like. I don't know how that shows up, but there's a lot of action going on down here, and so I think I want that in this part right here. And so we're going to come down and get this really close. I think. Let me make sure. Yep, let me think wild and crazy on the other side. Getting my center line lined up right here. Put on my glasses so I can actually see. Live and die by the center line when you're building a guitar, without a doubt. Stand up so I can look down over this. Sorry if I'm in light of the camera. Maybe not. And let's just trace around this and see what it looks like. Now remove the template. Kind of excited to build a double cut. It's been a while. All right, I hope that shows up good. You can see the outline there, and so now let's take this guy. And so I have, hang on. Go ahead and get something to measure with. It is 5/16. Right here, so we can come up 5/16. I'm going to cut myself an inch just for a nice accurate measurement. 5/16. Make sure we're on the center line. Now, there we are. Again, I want the outside of these horns right here to line up with my outline on the drawing. I'm good there. I'm good there. Center line. Let's go back to this pencil. And yes, you have seen me in my first video play guitar right-handed, but I am left-handed, I guess, when it comes to writing. Whoops. A little movement there. Stop that guy. Get right back here. I write left-handed, pretty much do everything else right-handed. Play guitar, sports, golf, that sort of thing. So. All right, so there we have it. We'll cut him out and we'll just go ahead and bring this over here. Kind of a line down and give us this piece right here to work with that, so I have a little extra. So yeah, time to go outside to the yard shop. Get out the bandsaw, cut this out, and start sneaking it into this guy by hand. And I still have to decide if I'm going to put binding in there. If I do, then I'll have to bring this back. So maybe I'll think about that for a little bit. See you outside in the yard shop. So I decided to go ahead and do a binding on this. And so I cut some thin strips, like 70,000th strips of maple I had. I cut it in a way where it was quarter sawn, and hopefully, I was hoping they would bend and not break, and they did. And so I've got them set in around through here with some CA glue. And yeah, so now we just got to fit the top, see what it looks like. Taking a little piece of sandpaper and going ahead and going along these edges, getting rid of any little bumps or anything I had where I had blocks glued up against this, or getting rid of any CA glue that may have got on the inside. So I'm just going to go ahead and smooth this out all the way around. Make sure the surface is nice and smooth. Never done this before. This is very interesting. Can't wait to see how it turns out. I hope it turns out good. Time will tell. All right. Well, I'm going to work on this off camera because this is kind of fidgety, tedious little stuff. No need to bore everybody with this, but once that's done, I have this top got to fit in here. I don't have a template for this. I'm going to have to go all the way around this by hand and fit this by hand, and so that is going to be something else for sure. So yeah, the next time you see this on camera, hopefully we'll be ready to glue this top in. Today's work kicked my butt, getting that top ready to inlay, fitting that in by hand. Even before that, putting the binding on the inside, it's kind of like a negative, like a negative. I completely did this the hard way. I don't think I'll do that again. Especially when I have a friend who owns a machine shop with a CNC laser too. He can cut a pattern. I started to do that. If you watched my third video, I was up there where we done the fretboard. I started to take some wood, draw my pattern out on the computer, and let him make me a couple of templates. And I thought, no, you know what? We'll do it by hand. Yeah, well, that's a whole day's worth. And working outside in Alabama in the summer, where it's 92, 93 degrees with high humidity, yeah, I think I'm dehydrated. But hey, it's all good. It's all for fun, right? See you next time.